Right. So for the question 1, you can see that they asked you to find using the graph here. You can see the graph right here. Provide the following information. So first you need to know what is the domain, right? And next, what is the range? And what is the x-intercept and y-intercepts? So how do you find this? So you may probably know from the lecture videos you watched many times before. So what is the domain of a function? The domain of a function contains all the possible inputs of a function, right? So looking at the picture right here, you can see that we have this arrow and this arrow, right? So meaning that it's going forever, right? So the domain for this kind of function is from this one, the whole thing here, from the whole thing here, right? Right. So it can be said that this is from negative infinity because this value is extremely small and this one is extremely big, right? So all possible input value for this function is actually from negative infinity to positive infinity. So the domain for that is the whole R, right? The whole real number, the whole real line number. And so how about the range? Range, how do we find the range based on the graph information? Right? The range containing all possible outputs of a function, right? You have an input, you put it in the function, you process it, and then you have the output. So in this case, when you look at the graph, right, you can see this is very special value, right? This is value 8 from here. So there is no output value be above the value 8 right here, right? So we can say that the maximum value for this kind of function is actually 8. So when 8, so then we have this point, right? So at -1, this function achieves maximum value. So we can know for sure that the range of that is bounded above by 8. So is it bounded above by 8? We can use the square bracket for that. So what is the bounded below for this kind of function, right? So again, when you're looking at the arrow right here, so it's keep going down forever, right? It will not stop, right? So in this case, so because the function is keep going down and it will not stop, so then the smallest value in this case is negative infinity, meaning that the smallest value, right? So the range is from negative infinity to 8. However, remember, however, if they just use, we just need that they just ask you to use this information of the graph, just this information of the graph, and without further notice, you can do something like this. Instead of negative infinity and positive infinity, you can say it's from the domain is just from -8 to -8. I'm sorry, this is -8 to 5, because it does not indicate, if you don't understand this kind of thing, just looking at the graph and it will not show any information about that. So you can do this. You can do this in this particular graph. And then you can add the range. The range, instead of negative infinity, you can say like -3, because -3 right here is the smallest value in this picture, right? Okay, so this is how do you do for finding the range and the domain. We had both are accurate, actually. Both are accurate. -5 or -8 to 5, all real numbers are accurate. It's just okay. So next we need to find the x-intercepts. So what does that mean by x-intercepts and y-intercepts? X-intercept means that the graph here intersect with the x-axis, right? So when looking at the graph directly, you can see that the intersect point is this point and this point, right? So X intersects at that point. Right? At this point, you can see that the X coordinate is 1 and the Y coordinate is 0, right? So we have the first point is 1 and 0. So how about this? This one, again, you can see this is -3 and 0. So it's easy peasy, right? So you just need to look at the intersection between the x-axis, the horizontal line, with the graph. Then you can see, you can look at that graph and you find the intersection points and you know that what is the x-intercept. Okay, so what is the y-intercept? So you do the same method, right? Looking at the intersection between the y-axis, the vertical line with the graph. So then you have this point. Okay, so you can fill in the blank right here. I believe that you can do it by yourself, right? It's easy, right? So if you have any question about question 1, please let me know. Okay, any step that you still not clear, so just let me know. I'm happy to answer. Okay. And by the way, the lab meetings on Monday is not mandatory. Okay, it's just, I'm here just to help you to better have the better understanding about the concepts of functions and graph and stuff, and help you to solve the problem. So feel free to let me know if you have any question, you need more help, just email me, then I can arrange a meeting for you guys on Tuesday and Friday from my office hours from 10 to 11:30. Okay, I'm always holding office hour 3 hours per week, every Tuesday and Friday from 10 to 11:30 a.m. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Or you can join the Zoom meeting. I will send the Zoom meeting information every day before the, every week before the office hours happen. So yeah. Okay, now we move to the question 2. Again, from here, this is about the observation again, right? We have 2 observation questions. 1 raw question, right? Sketch a graph, and many other questions. So this one, we know this is the picture of the graph, and they need you to evaluate this value, f-1, f of 2, f of 4, and this one, right? So how do you do for the first one? F of -1. So how do we find this? So for this one, you just need to look at the point, right? This x, f of -1, meaning that when x, so this is the function depends on x, right? So when x equals to -1, so this is x here. And how do you know what is the value for f of -1, which is the value of y? The way to do it is you can draw a vertical line parallel to the y-axis and passing through the points -1, right? So this line, and you're looking at the intersection, right? And the intersection is right here, right? And then you can project it on the y-axis. And you can see this is the value 4, right? So the points here is -4, 1, and 4. That means f of -1 is actually 4, right? So this is the first value for this. So I think this kind of question is kind of easy for you guys to understand it, except for some special cases. I will indicate that below here. For example, f of 2, what is the value of f of 2? This one is a little bit tricky. So f of 2, when you're looking at the graph right here, you can have, you draw, again, use the method that I show you. You draw a vertical line passing through the point 2 here, right? And you're looking at the intersection with the graph. And we have 2 intersection points, this point and this point. So which point will you pick? This one or this one? The above or the below? So from now this is the most important thing, right? So the notation for the y dot is actually we don't have the value for that y dot. We just have the value for the red dot right there. Okay. So when looking at the graph right here, so then I will always pick the red dot. I will not pick the y dot, meaning that this point is not the correct point, right? This point is the correct point. This is belong to the graph. Okay. So therefore, f of 2, when you're drawing this, you find this is the intersection, and you project it on a y-axis. Then you have the value is -1. So therefore, f of 2 is actually -1, right? So be careful with that. The notation is the red dot and the y dot. The red dot, we have information, and the y dot, we don't have information on it, right? So now, next, f of 4. Again, so when you look at this, right? Use the method that I show you, just draw a vertical line, and then you find the intersection points, and then you project it on the y-axis. So then you have, this is the value 2, okay, but be careful. However, this point is actually the y dot, right? The y dot meaning that we don't have any. Sorry, I was disconnected from my computer. So sorry. I have some trouble. Okay. Right. So many students may make a mistake like this. So they said when looking at the graph, you can see we have four people asking. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So is everything okay for you guys right now? Are you able to watch me? Right. Better now, right? Okay. Thank you. Right. So now we keep going this. So when you're looking at the graph right here, so maybe you make a mistake like f of 4 equal to 2, because looking at the graph right here, you draw a vertical line and this intersection point and you project it on the y-axis. But it's incorrect because, again, I said, the notation is the y dot. Y dot is nothing. We don't have information for that. So it is undefined, right? Undefined. This point is undefined. We don't have information for this, right? It's nothing. Right. So the last one is it's not the just finding a point, but we have to do a bit computation, right? So this one is f of -1 and then over f of 1, right? So you need to find 2 points, f of -1 first, and then find f of 1 later, and then you take the division, and then you have the result. So again, using the method I show you, so f of -2 is this point. This is a little bit tricky, right? So f of 1 is this point. F of 1 is this. F of -2 is this, right? Okay, so f of -2 is 1 over f of 1 is actually 3, so it's 1/3, right? So that's how you do it. Are there any questions relating to the question 2 here? Okay, good. I believe that you can manage to do it by yourself. Okay. So now this one is about sketch a graph. So how do we sketch a graph? So this is a little bit hard graph to draw, right? Because we have 2 pieces. First piece is -2x plus 8 whenever x is less than or equal to 4. The second piece is 1/2 of x minus 2 when x is greater than 4. So how do you do this? So first thing you need to look at is the value 4 here. It's very special value, right? So you draw this one. This is the value 4 here because it's so special. I can write it down like this, right? So we know that from here to here, from this reaction is from here to here. So the value is from negative infinity to 4, meaning that x is less than 4, right? From here to here is actually bigger than 4. So from here to here, we have a different graph. From here, we have a different graph also. So what is the graph for the first piece, x is less than 4? We have the function is given by negative 2x plus 8. So this is negative 2x plus 8 in this portion, right? In this portion, a half of the space, a half of the plane, this is negative 2x plus 8. So now we need to draw it. Okay, so how do you draw a linear graph like this? This is, we call this is a linear function, and the graph of a linear function we call the linear graph. So we know that for sure it's a line, right? Because it's linear. So how do you draw a line? Basically, in order to draw a line, you need to know two things, right? You need to know two specific points, and then you connect two specific points. Then you have the line, right? Or you can look at the slope. In this case, the slope equal to negative 2. But I refer the first one, the first method is finding 2 points. And then you will connect 2 points, these 2 points, and we have the graph. So in this case, we have the function is negative 2x plus 8. So I can choose the point. The first point is x equal to 0 because it's the easiest to compute, right? So when x equal to 0, we have f of 0 is 8. F of 0 is 8. So then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each will go through this point, it will pass it. So how about the value 1? When x equal to 1, so then we have f of 1 is actually 6, right? Because negative 2 plus 8 is 6. So this would be, so this is 1, this is 6, so this is 1, right? And then you connect 2 points here. Right, you connected. So this is the line that you need to looking for. And it's go until here. And it stop right here, right? It will stop right here. Will not go further because it's just true for the half of the space. Right? So this one, we're looking at this one. We have the arrow, meaning that it's going forever. For this one, it will stop here. And from here, x is less than or equal to 4. So it accepts the value of 4. So you draw a big dot red here. This is not the dot red, not the white red, right? So this is the dot red right here. So this is the first piece. So how about the second piece? So how do you draw it? Right? The second piece, you do the same method, right? So it's greater than 4. So we need to pick the value which is greater than 4, right? So this is the function is 1/2 of x minus 2. So which value can you pick? You can pick whatever, like 6 or 8, because that value is easy to compute, because 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So then 6 right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The value of f6 is 1, right? So this is 1. We have the first point. How about 8? 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So then the second point is 2. So this is 8, 2. So again, you connect these points. Connect these points. Sorry, this one. It's going up forever, right? And from this section, going down until this. And you have to draw a white dot right here, because it will not accept the value of 4, right? The value 4 is not accepted in the right half of the plane, right? So then that's why you need to put the dot, white dot for this. So this is the graph looks like how do we draw a graph for a linear function containing 2 pieces. So we can call this is a piecewise function, piecewise linear function, or whatever you want to call. But this is the methods. Okay. So do you guys have any question relating to this? Okay, look like we don't have any question for this kind of things. So we can move on to the next one. So this one is about application of mathematics than sorry, my internet connection is unstable again. So let me check. Can you guys hear me clear? Want to make sure that you, okay, that's good. Okay. So now I'm gonna share for my screen. Okay, so this I believe that you can you have a notes with you, so just don't open the question and go directly to the white page, so I can write it down some information on it, right? So for question 4, a clothing company manufactures expensive soccer jerseys for the high school soccer athletes and to be sold at all area local schools, and it's cost in dollars. Okay, in dollar, it's not in cent. For a run of X jerseys is CX, the function CX. So when you do mathematics, you just need to write out the some summary for the question. When you do the application, right? We know the function is given by this. Okay, remember that the domain is from 0 to 500. So X is between 0 and 500. Remember that, okay? So this is the cost. This is the cost function, right? So meaning that when you make X jerseys, so then you have to pay this amount of money, okay? For example, I say like I need to make 5 jerseys. I need to make 5 things. So then what do I have? I have to pay square 5 square, sorry. So this amount of money, this one is a cost, the money that I have to pay, the company have to pay for this, right? So this is a cost function, we have it. So now the next important information is they sell the jerseys for 100 each, right? So 100 each, right? So when we sell X units, so then we have to pay, we will get 100 times X, right? So we can say the second function is the revenue function. So we denote it by Rx. It's just simply equal to 100 times X, right? Right. So from here, we have the cost units, cost function, and the revenue function already. Oh, I already answered for you for the question A. The question A, they asked you to determine a revenue function for this company. So because, again, I explain again, this is for X units, right? So you sell 1 unit, you get $100, right? So when you sell 2 units, you get $200. So when you sell X units, so then you get X $100, right? X times $100. So that is the way to determine the revenue function, right? So, and now then you need to use mathematics for the more into the real world. So they ask you to find the profit for the company. So the profit function for the company. So clearly the profit is the money that you get from selling some product minus to some cost that you need to pay, right? So clearly that I denoted the profit function in PX. So then PX equal to the revenue minus the cost. Okay, so then we have 100x, you need to plug in and then you minus the amount here. And your job is to simplify this, okay? You have to simplify this kind of equation and then write it down carefully, take a screenshot and then send it to me via email. The due date is on Wednesday. Okay, do it on time and I will rate it and I will give you the feedback and I will upload it your grade on the website. So now the question C is how many jerseys must they sell to make the profit, right? So the profit doesn't mean that you will get the profit in real, right? It's sometimes if the cost is more than the revenue, so then we lost, right? We not win. So be careful with that definition. But in C, question C here is asking for how many jerseys. Actually, we can get some money. We can get some money back. So the answer is kind of straightforward, right? Because we make some profit, meaning that the profit has to be positive, right? We can get some money back. So this function has to be positive, right? So so then this equivalent to you have to do a little bit some mathematical question. You need to solve for this one greater than 0. So what is the value of x? Make this function, this quadratic function greater than 0. So that is, and then you choose the nearest integers. So then that's the answer for question C. Right? So this we call the inequality, right? Because it's greater than 0. It's not like the equation. The equation is you solve for the solution. But this one you can actually compute the exact. You cannot compute the exact value, but you can make some prediction. For example, I can say if you can choose like x equal to 100. If I make 100 units, right? So what is the profit that I have? P100 equal to what? 100 times 100 minus 2,800 plus 8 times 100 plus 0.1 times 100 squared. So this one is 10 to the power 2, 10 to the power 2. So this is 10 to the power 4 minus 8,000 minus 800. And this one is 10 to the power 4 times 10 to the power 2. So 10 to the power negative, power 3, right? So this is 1,000. Okay. So clearly, this is minus sign, sorry. Yeah. So clearly this one is positive, right? You can see that this is actually the positive value. So then actually we can make some profit on it. Right. So let me go to the next page. So P100 is like 10 to the power 4 minus 8,500, 800 minus 1,000. So this is 10,000 minus this amount equal to some value like this is 3,000, 4,600, 5,400. Right? You can say that at the value where did you get 5 from? Okay, where is the value? Oh, the value 5 is just an example of it. So it's just an example. Where is 10 to the power 4 coming from? Okay, so let me explain. Because P100 equal to 100 times 100, right? And then minus this amount inside of the parentheses. Okay. So this one, because 100 equal to 10 to the power 2, right? So 100 times 100, meaning that 10 to the power 2 times 10 to the power 2. So it's equal to 10 to the power 4, because 2 plus 2 equals to 10 to the power 4, right? Okay, so therefore you get 10 to the power 4, which is 10 thousands, okay? You can write down simply just 10 thousands. You don't have to write down like this. Yeah, basically, for example, this is just an example, right? For you can pick another values to make it greater than 0, and then you can say at this product, so then we can gain some profit from it. So so that is basically the answer for that. But the question is, you have to find specific value. How many jerseys must they sell to make a profit? Must they sell? What is the least? So this one is a possible value, but it's not the necessary value. So the important point is that you have to find the optimal value, optimal units, how many units, which is the optimal that we can sell to make some profit. Okay, so how do we do this? Would you find the vertex to find the optimal values? Yeah, so okay, first thing you have to do is simplify this quadratic function first, right? This quadratic function is 92x minus 0.1x squared minus, let's say, what it is, 2,800, right? So there are two ways for you to do it. You can use the, you can draw the graph, and then looking at the graph, and you can say, this graph is kind of messy and it's kind of hard to draw, but yeah. You can, another way to do it is to, I don't know whether you studied the quadratic function before. I'm not sure how. Do you guys know how to solve for find a solution for a quadratic function? For example, if for this function equal to 0, do you know how to find a solution for it? Quadratic formula, solution for the, yes. Okay, you guys know how to do it, right? So this is simple for me, okay, to explain. Okay, so now we need, right? We need the profit has to be positive, meaning that you have to solve for this kind of inequality. And the right hand side is 0, the left hand side is the quadratic function. So the first step to do it is to solve for this kind of equation, find a solution for this. So this one we have, you can use your calculator to find a solution for it, or you can say, so basically you will find two solutions, right? Basically you will find two solutions. So I can denote it by x1 and x2. So it's equal to like minus 92 plus or minus square root of 92 square minus 8,000 times 0.1 divided by 0.2 minus 2. Okay. So we have, basically we have two solutions. One is negative and another one is positive. And the positive one is actually, I denoted by x2 is equal to negative 92 plus square root of. This one, how do I get? I use it from the quadratic formula. Divided by 0 to, this is the negative solution. This one is negative. X1 so 2,800 times with 0.1 is 280 divided by negative 2, 0. And you need to simplify it, right? Because minus sign and minus sign here is just plus, right? This become positive. So this one is actually bigger than 0, right? So from this one, you can actually draw a graph for this. So this is x2 negative, x1 positive. So the graph is minus sign, right? Remember you draw for the x square, so it's concave up, right? And negative x square is concave down. This one is negative 0.1 square, so it's concave down. It's something like this. Right. Okay. So let's say 0, 100. So when you're looking at the graph right here, you can see from this interval to so the graph is from 0 to 500 also. Okay, can make sure that this solution belongs to the interval from 0 to 500. Will this Zoom call be shared post lecture? Yeah, I will share it later. Yeah, I'm recording it and I will share it later. I will send to you the link. Right, and based on the graph that you draw, and then you can find the optimal value by looking at this x-intercept, and then at this point, then you can say that the raw fit actually positive from that interval. So then it is the value that we are looking for. Okay. So you guys have any question about this? So that is the way to do it. So I will not try to like giving the detail every step, finding the solution, what is the solution and what is that. But basically the idea to do it is to solve the inequality, and how to solve the inequality, you can draw a graph of that. You can use some software on the internet to draw it, or you can use a calculator to draw a graph and looking at which value is the x-intercept. And then you eliminate the negative value and you choose the positive value. And you say you choose the nearest integer because maybe the x-intercept is not the integers. It's like, for example, like 98.0.1. So then you can say like it's 99 from 99 units. 99 units is the necessary units that we need to sell to make the profits for that. Okay, so that basically the answer for question 4. So I will not spend more time for that, and we can move on to question 5. Question 5 is suppose that the Reddit remaining on the phone in dollars is a linear function of a total calling time. You're looking at the graph and you can see this is a calling time. Basically, the graph is linear function, right? And when graph, the function gives a line with a slope. Oh, in this case, we know the slope information, right? It's 0.1. I can say the slope is 0.16. And we know that the graph looks like this, something like this, right? So at this point, it's 28 minutes, and the value is 28.92. Okay. So how many Redis was there after 15 minutes call? So how many minutes was there after 15 minutes call? So how do we do this, right? In this case, it's really hard to look at the graph and say the value because we don't know what it is. However, because of the slope, we are able to construct the function for this graph, right? So this graph is a function fx. I can call that is a function fx when we know that it's a linear function. So we have, it has the form is 2x plus b, where a and b are constant. And we are looking at looking for a and b, right? We are looking for a and b. Okay. So first, the slope. Looking at this, the first information we have is the slope. So what is the slope for the in linear function? The slope for a linear function is actually the a coefficients right here, right? So that means a is 0.16. Okay. So now the function become easier. It's become fx equal to 0.16 times x plus b. Okay. Right. So how do we find the value b? By looking at this point is given, right? At 28 minutes, the remaining radius is 28.92, right? So that means f of 28 equal to 0.16 times 28 plus b, and at the same time it's equal to 28.92. Okay, so this is a linear equation. You solve for it, then you get x. You get b, okay? So b just 28.92 minus 0.16 times 28. So you can compute it and you have something, right? So I will not compute it here, but this is the value that you need to find. And next, they asked, the question is how much radius was there after 15 minutes call? After 15 minutes call, that means they ask you to compute the value of f of 15, right? When you have a already, a and b is defined, are defined, already found it. We are already find the value a and b. So this one we just have to plug in, right? F of 15 equal to 0.16 times 15 plus b, and b is this amount, right? B is this amount. And then you is equal to whatever number you should have to plug in. So that kind of question is, again, it's not really hard, right? But it's meaningful, right? Looking at graph, when you have the slope and we have 1 point, actually can, you know, when you know a slope of a linear function and you know one specific point, so then you can know every points, every information of the graph. So that is the meaning of this question. Right, so we move to the last question. The last one is about obligation also, right? So we have the equation is V equal to 20,000 minus 2,500 T models for the value of car and how the value of car decreases in value over time, where V is the current value and T is the number of years that have passed. So find the V and the T intercepts, right? So again, as we did in question 1, you have to find x and y intercepts, but in this case, we have different name. Don't worry, just the same thing, right? V is a function. So when you draw a graph, it's always the vertical line. This is V. V is a variable, so then it's the horizontal line. So this is a graph for that. And then you draw this kind of graph, right? So this is the graph is 200,000 minus 2,500 T. So when T equal to 0, so when T equal to 0, V equal to 20,000, right? So this is 20,000. Okay. So we can call this is the V intercept. You can understand this as when V intercept, meaning that if V is a function, then V intercept is actually V of 0. Right? V of 0 is 20,000 minus 200,000 times 0, which is 20,000. So we call V intercept is, but V intercept is a point. It's not a value. So we can say this is 20,000 and so sorry. X coordinate first, 0 and 20,000. So this is v-intercept. Okay, so how about x-intercept? So for x-intercept, then you have to, t-intercept. When t-intercept, you have to assume v equal to 0. When v equals 0, then you have this equation, 20,000 minus 2,500 times t equal to 0. And then you solve for t. So t is 20,000 divided by this amount. Right? I believe it is 40, right? This is 40, right? Yeah. No, it's 8. Sorry. Okay, this is 8 because 10,000 divided by 2,500 is 4, so 8. So this is 8. So t equal to 8 and 0. So v equal to 0. So this is the t-intercept, and you do connect these values. You connect the line, the connecting line of these values is actually the ramp for this function, right? Okay, so for B, they provide they present for what they present for in this situation, right? So this one I let you think about that because the mathematical question is about thinking using mathematics to solve a real life application question. So please think about the answer for question 6B. Okay, so we finished the meeting for today. I hope you're doing well and stay safe for these days. Thank you for coming here. Goodbye. You can leave now.